Hi, I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and today we want to talk about a fun way to present anthuriums. We have a tropical promotion going on right now that includes plants and cuts, but we're going to take a look today at putting an anthurium in a glass vase. So we see traditionally anthurium are presented in pots and such, but I want to encourage you to actually give this a try. So what you start with is you have a couple varieties of pebbles, different sizes. So you start with a pebble layer, and that becomes its own humidity tray. And it's really easy to instruct your customers to be able to fill the water up to the top of the rocks. And when it's gone, then that's when you water it again. So it's really easy for them to see and know. And I love the beauty of the exposed roots. It's kind of that exposed mechanics, but being able to kind of take in the beauty of the roots as well as the plants. Now, some of you guys might say, I don't think anthuriums are going to grow very well in glass. Well, I'm kind of here to prove you wrong, because this plant here has been growing in glass since 2020. So I had this plant, and it started off as this little 6-inch plant, and you can just see how happy it is. You can see you put it in the window in indirect light. It's kind of a medium light. I do fertilize it. I actually use an orchid fertilizer, so it's like a blooming plant fertilizer. But you can see just how many blooms this baby shot up this year. So it was really exciting for me to be able to show you that. And then, so we're gonna just take a look at how we put that together. So this one here is done in the larger adorned vase, and you can see it's a hurricane-shaped vase. Kind of gives a little bit more of that decorator look. Our next one, we're actually gonna put in a pedestal vase and really embrace being able to see that root system. So here I've got one of the white anthuriums, and you can see when I pull it out of the pot, it has a really extensive root system. I have a couple of these roots that are running around the top. So I'm actually going to pull those apart and kind of get them to come down. But I've got my base here done with some pebbles, and so a nice good layer, 2 to 3 inches depending on your size. And then we're just going to add in a little bit of the soil and some orchid bark, kind of alternating a little bit, so not the real heavy soil. And so that'll become our base. Then we're going to come in, and I'm just going to pull a few of those roots that are running around that pot to just make sure that they don't choke off the plant. But I can just bring them and then bring them down as we're going into the plant. But it's just like you're loosening up the roots sometimes when you plant your plants in the garden. So you just don't want to have those running around. So we're just going to come in, and I gotta loosen up a little bit more and come into the pot here, the vase. So you can see this one fit in quite tightly, but if you do need to add a little bit of soil, you could go in, and if you had a gap here, what you can do is just kind of push some soil down in. And also I added a little bit of moss, so you could add a little moss over the top if you wanted that to be a little bit of a finishing touch. But just with the soil mixture that was in this pot, some moss actually grew into the vase that I have at my house. But so you can see how this really can elevate. And so make sure and embrace that tropical promotion. Take that heat of summer and present something different to your customers. Make it a conversation piece. So once they have this in their house, their friends are going to see it. They're going to be able to tell them the story on how to water to the top of the rocks, and so that it has its own humidity tray. And this way, they'll all be successful, and you'll have beautiful anthuriums growing in all your customers' homes. I'm Sandy Schreck for LBR Educates, and I hope I inspired you to create some fabulous florals.